Join Mark Lewis and R.O.A. for an exclusive interview with Michael Stephen Levine, born the 1st June 1949, is the bassist and keyboardist for the Canadian hard rock band Triumph. You found rockonamerica.live. We're bringing rock and roll to America and beyond. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
In the heart of the Canadian hard rock scene, a name resonates with a thunderous echo: Michael Stephen Levine. Born on the 1st of June, 1949, this master of the bass and wizard of the keyboard has been setting stages ablaze with the band Triumph. Join Mark Lewis and R.O.A. as they delve into an exclusive interview with this rock legend. Discover the highs, the lows, the untold stories, and the unraveled mysteries of Michael's illustrious career. Venture into the rhythm-filled world of Triumph, a band known for its electrifying performances and soul-piercing lyrics. Hear from the man behind the bass, the wizard behind the keyboard, and the heart behind the music. Step into the world of Michael Stephen Levine and Triumph.
Hi, this is Mark with R.O.A.M magazine, and today I have the distinct, absolute pleasure to interview one of the legends in the music business and in the rock and roll in particular. With me today is Mike Levine from Triumph, bass player. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Are you up at home in Canada?
I am in Toronto, sitting in my backyard talking to you.
Oh, well, you got better weather than we do up here. I'm melting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been in the hundreds down here.
Yeah, well, it's close to 100 here today.
Oh, gosh, we're dead. Anyway, let's go into this. When you were growing up as a kid, who were your musical influences growing up?
Well, it's really hard to say because my dad was a musician, so I mean, my household had everything, jazz, Charlie Parker. I mean, I was 5 years old, I was listening to Charlie Parker, and 8 years old, I was listening to Lenny Bruce, who wasn't a musician, but, very sick humorist.
Yeah, he really pushed the envelope on a lot of stuff.
So it's like I was exposed to, pretty much everything. And I had an older sister who, would bring home 78 to the Little Richard and things like that, So, I had a huge influence of jazz and classical, because my dad also played in the Toronto Symphony, as well as being a jazz guy.
Oh, nice.
So, it was like there's music in our house all the time. And I, had to study piano from the time I was 4 till I was old enough to say I don't want to do this anymore.
Right, so you have the music theory background behind you too.
Yeah, I mean that counted for a grade for me in high school. So I had grade A piano and grade 2 theory, and the day that I decided I wanted to stop, which my father told me I'd regret, but I'd rather go play baseball with my friends and practice piano all day. So
right.
I forgot how to play piano. Honestly, the next time I sat down at the piano, I couldn't read music anymore. I couldn't play. I was an excellent pianist, but I couldn't even read music anymore. It was funny how that worked. And my dad said I regret it. I never wanted to be a musician. Looking at your life, like forget it.
Yeah.
And I saw the Beatles. Changed my life.
How so?
Well, I mean, it would change anybody's life as a teenager.
I mean, for you, though, particularly
as a teenager, where you watch, girls rubbing their thighs together, creating sparks, screaming really loud as musicians. That's what I want to do.
There you go. So that was the thing that...
How do you get girls? That's the easy way.
Yeah, there you go. So that was the thing that really influenced you to start doing this then, was seeing the Beatles perform. Was that Sullivan thing, or was that them live? What was the performance?
I was at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and I don't remember how I got tickets, but I was there, and there was 100 guys and 18,000 girls. So this is something that it's a revolution.
Yeah, I interviewed somebody else too, and I want to ask you this question about that just really quickly, because that was what kind of a linchpin for them too, to be a performer. They saw the Beatles live. Person saw the Beatles live. I can't remember who it is offhand right now, but anyway, was it kind of the same thing? The girls were just rounding off hearing the Beatles playing because they were so loud in there.
You couldn't hear it because they didn't have a sound system. They used the PA system for the that 2 minutes for roughing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing when you went to a hockey game. So, you know, it was a bunch of, like, $20 horns.
Right.
It was the PA system, so you couldn't hear the band for the girls screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was totally amazing. And, you know, I kept going to shows after that, if my parents would let me. And even if they didn't let me. And, you know, a bunch of buddies of, you know, we started off, you know, having bands in high school. And, you know, that was an easy way to get girls. That was the best thing in the world.
Yeah, let's talk about one of, if you don't mind, one or two of the, just a band or two early on before Triumph that really has a lot of good memories for you. And let's talk about that for a minute.
Geez, I played in so many bands. It was, you know, guys would drop out, but, you know, the first band I was in, we had like 19 guitar players, a piano player, and a drummer, and no bass player. And so we hired, you know, 17 of the guitar players. So now there was 2 of us playing guitar, or 3 of us, or whatever it was. And but we still needed a bass player, but nobody was a bass player. Everybody was a guitar player or drummer. Right. None of us were any good, by the way. But it's kind of like, what are you going to do? And everybody looked at me and went, well, your dad's a bass player, so you're going to have to play bass. So I had to go to the music store and buy a bass amp and a bass guitar, and that's how it started.
Oh, cool. Has anybody been like an influence with you? You're from Canada. I mean, and let me ask you the big question. May get the flood. I don't know. Did Rush have an impact on you?
Not early, for sure. We were a couple of years behind them as
right.
You know, the success ratio and stuff. But excuse me.
I mean, seeing Geddy Lee play the bass in that. Did that kind of like, wow, that's really cool. Maybe I can do that type of playing or something like that.
No. This was long before I ever saw Rush. Rush didn't even exist. I'm talking about, you know, when Geddy was still in high school and I was still in high school.
Right. But I mean, as you've been a bass player, though, have you like seen him? I mean, being from Canada, and Geddy Lee is always considered one of the great bass players of all time. Has that influenced you at all?
No, other than I think Geddy is one of the greatest bass players of all time. You know, he's there with guys like Bill Sheehan. And,
yeah.
You know, and Billy Sheehan I've known for years, and you know, he keeps telling every time I see him, and I haven't seen him in a long time, but in the olden days, you know, he'd come up to see us play, and he'd come backstage, he goes, "You're my idol," and I go, "No, you don't get it. You're an amazing player. I'm just a hazard." And you wouldn't hear a word about it. He said, "No, you're fucking great."
No, you are. You're an amazing bass player, because that's you are one of the premier bass players out there in rock and roll. Triumph is one of the premier rock bands out there. You guys have been since day one. So let's get into that. How does Triumph form? And I want to kind of start with this. How did you guys decide on the name Triumph?
Well, you know, we had an idea. That was all. Gil and I had an idea, and we needed a guitar player to fulfill the idea. Have a 3-piece band, have a big show, write great music, you know, turn fans on. You know, whatever it was, we decided that's what we wanted to do. But we needed a good name, you know, so we canvassed everybody we knew, and Gil actually was a booking agent. He booked bands into high schools and stuff, and so he canvassed all the buyers that he talked to, and, you know, I canvassed all my friends and other musicians and whatever, and we ended up with, you know, 300 or 400 names on a list. It came down to Hellfire or Triumph were the 2 names that we had a choice of.
I think you did a good job picking the name that you picked.
Yeah, I mean, it was a war, but, you know, as I remember, it was a long time ago, but, you know, we fought it all out. You know, Triumph had the positive attitude, which was reflected in our music. It worked, you know, it was a fabulous name.
Now, how did the band actually form? Did you guys know each other growing up in that? How did this come together?
Well, Gil and I knew each other from the early days in Toronto. You know, we played in competing bands because there used to be, you know, a really vibrant scene in Toronto with rhythm and blues bands especially. And we had met in Yorkville Village, which was, you know, where everybody played. And there was, you know, 100 clubs in like 2 blocks. You know, it was like I don't know how to compare it. You know, that in those days it was unbelievable. You know, the music you were going to see. But Gil and I knew each other, and then we played in the band together, and we decided, you know, this band's going nowhere. You know, let's try and, because it was just a part-time thing. So we decided, you know, let's try and put something together that makes sense, you know, and has a chance of being successful. And, you know, we decided it's got to be a three-piece band, it's got to be, have a big show, it's got to have great music. So,
Mike, can I interject a question really quick? Sure. Why did you decide on a three-piece as opposed to like a 4 or 5 piece?
Ultimate democracy.
Okay.
You know, 2 out of 3, you know, votes win. There's no ganging up, kind of. There is ganging up, but it's not like you got 3 guys, in a 5-piece band, you got 3 guys against 2.
Right.
And then it's really easy to break up at that point. But,
yeah.
You know, 2 guys against 1, you know, everybody's going to end up on the shit end of the stick at some point.
Right.
So, and it worked for a long time. So.
Okay. So anyway, going back as you're putting this together.
Yeah, we had to find a guitar player, you know, and we went through several guys and just didn't really work properly. You know, it's just personality and concepts and where people wanted to go. And then booking agent we knew said, you guys should go see this guy, Rik Emmett. He plays in a band called Act 3. They're playing this weekend at some club, Queensbury Arms is the name of the club, actually. And we went there to see him, and he was amazing. You know, that just blew my mind. You know, it's like the band was playing early Queen and Gentle Giant stuff. I mean, it was like mind-boggling to me how good this guy was. And so we talked to him after and convinced him to leave his band and come with us. And well, that was certainly after some jam sessions and things. But that's how it kind of all started.
Now, in this, too, I'm going to ask you a question, and I hope this isn't an unfair question. I think it's a legitimate question, though. Canada has had a lot of really wonderful musicians come out of there, and like Frank Marin and Mahogany Rush out of Montreal, Quebec. You have Kim Mitchell, who a lot of people in the States don't know, but I lived in Detroit, and I used to go up to Canada a lot for 3 years, and I got really hung up on Kim Mitchell and really turned on to Kim Mitchell, and that goes back even back to Max Webster.
Max Webster did.
Yeah, and then him solo, the guy's just amazing, incredible. You have Rush, you have Triumph, you have Helix, and the Killer Dwarves kind of are all over the place up there, and a few other things, but it's like a lot of bands don't get the exposure up there that they do as maybe, let's say, England or Germany or the States or something like that. Do you think that makes that easier for you guys to progress and get signed and become a big name? Because it's just like if you were going to talk about Canadian artists, there's kind of like a handful that a lot of people would say, although there's a ton of great bands up there. Like I said, as opposed to like maybe Germany or UK or US or somewhere else, there's just so many bands that get signed and come out of the box. Do you think that helps you, or does that make it harder being a musician in a band in Canada?
It's tough in Canada. I mean, we have I have a philosophy that, you know, we eat our own up here. You know, it's like you have to leave Canada before people recognize that you have something. And that's the only way you can make it.
So is that what you guys did? Did you guys start coming like into Pennsylvania, New York, upstate New York, and New York City and that play? And how did you guys get going? Or did you guys say, heck with it, we're going to play up here in Toronto and that?
No, we just got incredibly lucky, you know. It's like, you know, it's like we had a plan, and you write out a business plan, so to speak, which we didn't, because we didn't know what a business plan was.
Right.
In our minds, we had a business plan of how we wanted to do it.
Right.
And what we wanted to attain, you know, and chances that we all knew that the chances of us actually, you know, executing that were like 1 in 10,000. You know, it's like having a gold mine, you know.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way that, you know, you got all these little companies that find a little bit of gold somewhere, but, you know, to make it into a big mine, it's like really tough.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what we had to deal with, and, you know, we just you know, broke down every story. And we had a philosophy, like you said, man, people said you guys were crazy, and we went, fine, we said we're crazy. You know, it doesn't matter to us what anybody else said. You know, oh, you'll never make it, or you're dreaming, or whatever. You know, well, guess what? Dreams come true sometimes, but you have to work at it to make your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And you know, coming from Canada, which is a very, very small country, you know, big in real estate, but small in population.
Right.
And you know, we said it's like, you know, we have to make it in the States. So our plan, which we executed, was to, you know, make it in America.
What was it like, going back for a second, you guys got turned on to Rik Emmett when you met him? Was after you and Gil got to talk to him, was it like, yes, this is what I want to do, or did he think about it, or was it just kind of like chemistry there?
No, we had to guarantee him a salary. It's true, and he'll admit to it. And it's, I'm not telling stories out of school.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. And but we did, and Rik got paid every week, whether Gil and I got paid or not, didn't get paid. But you know, he wanted to, you know, buy a house, or you know, rent a house, or rent an apartment, I guess, and live with his girlfriend. You know, so you know, there was enough money in the pie that you know, he had that opportunity. So
well, let's go back early on here. You guys got signed. How did that first got signed? And I'm gonna ask a question before this. Just before I go into that, what in your mind sticks out? And I've gotten different answers, and when I ask this, it's about being successful. Some people said, well, I'm not there yet. I don't think I'll ever be there. I've heard one band in particular, a bunch of younger guys, newer band, they said it was the days that the tour bus pulled up to the house and we realized we don't have to drive around in the van anymore. So we finally made it. It's actually a tour bus we're on tour. For you, where do you fall in that as far as success goes in your mind about being successful and finally making it?
Hey, you know, our goals were to play Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto and to have a gold record in Canada. I mean, those were our goals.
Okay.
But as you got closer to those goals, you went, well, that's not good enough anymore. You need a platinum record. You need to do 2 shows at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And then you need to have a gold record in America and you know, sell out every venue you play at. And then when you got close to that, you got to move those goals up. You know, you have to keep raising the bar.
Right.
Which we did. You know, it's like when we got close to something, we said, hey, we're close to that. Like, you know, big deal. Like, let's move on. Let's go. You know, you got to keep raising the bar and attaining new goals. You can't just live for one goal. And life, it's a life experience, really. You know, you just got to keep going because, you know, for me, you know, I'm an eternal student. You know, guys in the music business taught me so much. Guys in the radio business taught me so much. I learned so much during Triumph's heyday. I mean, it was like an incredible learning. It was always a learning experience. Always. Never like you know it all. As soon as you say you know it all, you might as well throw the cards in. You know, forget it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Let's go back and talk about when you guys first got signed. How did that come about, and where did you guys from that point start seeing commercial success?
Well, we were signed before there was a band. We had a record deal. I had a small record label in Canada before Triumph started, and I was really good friends with a guy from Warner Brothers here, and we used to travel the country together. And you know, he used to pick up the hotel room where we got all the radio guys drunk, and he paid the bills, but we were good buds. So it's not just a little wee label. But I got to know a lot of people, and the guy from Warner's, Tom Williams, eventually left Warner's and started this company called Attic Records. And when Gil and I decided to do well, these guys must be pretty smart or something, you know. But
yeah.
So anyway, this company, Attic Records, they financed our career initially when we were young and stupid and stuff, and eventually we had to get rid of them because they were stupid and not important. But you know, we moved from being a small time band with a small time record label in Canada into signing with RCA Records in the States, which in retrospect was also a small time record label.
Right.
But certainly for rock bands, but it certainly we were in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
They needed rock bands. They couldn't live on Elvis Presley anymore, and they dropped the Scorpions, which was originally signed to RCA.
Right.
But we wanted to be on Mercury Records so bad. We tried to be on Mercury Records. We just couldn't get signed there. So we ended up getting signed by RCA.
And what do you think was the first initially successful album that in you guys' mind, because a lot of people would say it was like Allied Forces and stuff like that. It was like one of your big pinnacle records. But to you guys, what was your big deal where you guys go, yeah, we hit it, this is it, we've made it, and we're huge?
Well, in Canada, it was the Rock and Roll Machine album. I mean, that album, they went double platinum in Canada in a fucking hurry. You know, which was our second record, which was, you know, pretty cool for us guys. But and in America, we had just got signed after that record. So our first big record in America was Just a Game.
Okay.
That was the groundbreaking record for us. That proved to American radio, FM radio, Lee Abrams, the Superstars formats, that we were contenders. And they backed us 100%. I mean, it took a while, but they came to the party, and we were getting played on, you know, 200 album radio stations in America, and it was pretty cool.
And that was, and you gotta help me because of the surgery I had. That was like early 80s, wasn't that like 82, 1979, okay. I knew it was like right around there at the beginning of the 80s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that was Hold On and Lay It on the Line.
Right. I remember when that hit, and that thing was just, I lived in Detroit, grew up in Detroit area, and to be like metropolitan Toronto, I lived in the suburbs. And I remember when Lay It on the Line came out on the radio, that was the first thing I ever heard from you guys. I'm like, wow, this is really, really cool, and it's different.
It was WADX and RIF and those stations.
WLLZ and all that, yeah, W4.
Well, when the LLZ went on the air in Detroit,
yeah,
the first song they played was Hold On. The first song, that was their lead-off song.
Yeah, and it was different. You guys were different because, like, let's take like a Black Sabbath, for instance. Very, very heavy, very, very intensive. Take Rush, fellow Canadians there for you. Very, very technical. You guys kind of can across the spectrum, very hard and heavy, and yet have beautiful melody, which was somewhat different. I mean, because it goes beyond, like, let's say Aerosmith, who can do Dream On, and they can do some great melody. But you guys, there's like, I can see the piano background and the classical music background influence because there's these little shades and elements in a song like Hold On. You can hear little bits of that in there. And then you go to like Lay It on the Line, and you go to different songs like that. And as you guys progress to the catalog, you get harder and heavier, but yet you can go over here and race to the moon, and down over here, you can do this beautiful song and this beautiful melody and write a beautiful love song, but yet it's all trance and all bits, and it's not stop and go, and it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable going, why did they do that song? It's not done. Everything is you guys just developed some formula that worked for you guys. It's just no matter what you do, it's just beautiful. It works, and it's you guys, and it sounds like you guys.
Yeah, well, we had a signature sound, and that was that. You know, God knows why or how, but you know, we just got, again, like being successful in the music business, like any other business, you need a modicum of luck. And you know, we sat at the poker table and played cards hard, and but the music did the talking, and that was the key. You know, like we wrote some really great songs. They were well recorded and well produced, and we had a great live show. And people wanted to buy our records, wanted to hear us on the radio, and wanted to come to our shows.
What are a couple of your favorite memories for you? Let's go back, and I want to talk about, because you guys, a lot of bands when the 90s hit, it's like everything went distorted, to me, everything distorted, changed, grunge came in, it's like everything from the 80s disappeared almost. Everything got very distorted, strange, weird, and not just myself, I've talked to so many people, they're like, we're so glad the 90s are gone and over, and even the early 2000s, because it's like everything that we grew up and we fell in love with musically is like it was forgotten. Even like oldies radio, you know this, even oldies radio, they're playing the 70s. Well, what happened to like Janis Joplin and the Beatles and the Beach Boys? You know, and it's so different, and you guys kind of like, it's almost like, what happened to Triumph? And so before we go into that, though, what are a couple of your really, really wonderful, fond memories of just like big, huge focal points from the heyday, and also maybe you can really share a story of something that touched you where your music struck a chord with somebody. You met somebody after the show, or you're walking down the street or having lunch or something, somebody comes up and you go, Mike, that song. You know, can you share a couple of those memories?
Oh, God, there's so many of those. You know, I talk for 2 hours about, you know, the memories.
Well, how about we talk about for about 5-6 minutes about the memories? That way I don't get in trouble, you don't get in trouble, we don't get in trouble with the interview going too long. But, you know, people like hearing this really, and it really shows a very nice side of the band, a very personal side of the band, and so I like to do that.
Well, the greatest memories are obviously playing, for me anyway, you know, the big buildings in every market, you know, going to San Francisco and selling out the Cal Palace and selling out the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago and having the fans sing the songs louder than your PA system can pump them out. You know, it's like that's the ultimate satisfaction, that your music is so good that your fans can sit there and out-volume you. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate compliment. You just go, well, you know, if you start to lay it on the line or you start as your car, which is quiet, and the audience is singing it louder than you can play it, you just go, fuck it, you know, let's just, like, you know, let the audience do it. And we used to have to not play it until the band, you know, until the drums came in and stuff. And even then it was tough because the audience would drown us out. But even those moments were incredible. You know, the F Festival, of course, that was huge, a huge moment.
Oh yeah, I wish they would do things like that again.
Yeah.
Is there a moment sticks out that's like something you'd like to share, that somebody came up to you and your music had this impact, whether it was a guy proposed to his girlfriend or he was going to somebody?
You know, we're on the internet, right?
Yeah, we're going to be on the internet, yeah, so you can say whatever you want to say. It's okay.
Right. Well, I mean, everything from the first fuck to the first blowjob, you know, it's like it was the triumph. But even more importantly than that, we used to get, and not regularly, but every once in a while, and one letter for sure, it really touched me so much that, you know, I still kind of tear up when I think about it. But this one girl said that she was going to commit suicide. She was a single mother, 17 years old, you know, just like at her wit's end, no job, and she was going to off herself. And then she heard Hold On the radio, and it changed her life. And she went back to school and became a nurse, and, you know, her son grew up to be whatever. And, you know, just the fact that music can touch one person, it makes it all worthwhile. One person, that's all you need, to touch one person. To me, it's like, you know, that makes a career.
Yeah. And see, I want to say thank you, first of all, for sharing that, because and I've learned this, because I'm doing the magazine. A lot of people come to me and go, oh, you meet rock stars, and this is so great, and, you know, it's so cool. And I go, wait a second. I said, and I try to get people to understand this. When you meet musicians, when you meet celebrities, to give you an example really quick, I met a baseball player from Detroit who'd been traded to Chicago. I'll leave his name out of this. And he'd just been traded to Chicago White Sox. And he's back in Detroit. The White Sox are playing. This little kid comes up and goes, Mr. So-and-so, can I get your autograph, Mr. So-and-so? He goes, nah, I have batting practice. And storms off on a poor little kid, right? Kid's about in tears. And I'm going, what a jerk. And I've learned this, that what I don't think a lot of people understand is that you guys you're just like us. You just have the really cool job.
We're just regular people.
and when you get to hear these stories, I think that sometimes people forget that you guys are just you guys, and it's just, I don't know if sometimes people really understand that you get touched by stuff like all of us do. And when I hear these stories, I think they're incredible. When somebody goes, just like the story you told, and I've heard things like that before too, where, you know, I was able to help with this and I was able to help that, and I like to get that out there too, so people really go, you know, these really are people and these are good people. Because I think sometimes that you guys, in general, musicians, celebrities just get looked at as like the god status, and people forget that you guys are real people and they have feelings too.
Well, it's really true. I mean, you know, musicians do a lot for society, and music, you know, does touch people. I can't say that it touches people anymore because music has become incredibly disposable and incredibly bad. Like you're talking about the 90s, it's like, you know, there's, you know, a lot of bad music has really surfaced. And
yeah, I almost quit listening to the radio. At one point I did. I just listened to cassettes and albums and CDs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty abysmal out there. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, there's some really good acts out there now and then, but in general, you know, you had to be great to get played on the radio and to have any success. Now, you just have to, you know, I give my IT to hear a guitar solo on a record.
After we get off this, I'll give you a couple of things, but clean a couple new bands, because all the guitar solos are coming back, thank God. I'll share a couple things with you really quick when we're done. What is one of your, we're going to progress forward in just a minute, but overall throughout your career with Triumph, what is your favorite album, and even including the greatest hits package, if you like that, what is your favorite album that you guys have done, or compilation, and what is your favorite song that you've ever done, and why? What's it mean to you?
Oh, that's, what you ask the tough questions. I mean, it's really hard, because every album's your favorite album when you finish it. You know.
Well, let's take your favorite couple of songs, and your top couple favorite songs, at least for today, your favorite couple of songs.
I have a lot of favorite songs. You know, but if you know, let's go back to the album part. I think that, in general, I think the Allied Forces album was like kind of where Triumph really hit the, you know, was peaking. You know, in that era, the Allied Forces, Never Surrender, Thunder 7, those albums were what Triumph was. You know, we're at the top of our game, songwriting-wise. Those albums gave great pictures of what the band was. You know, from the light stuff to the heavy stuff to the little guitar piece Rik would do. You know, it was all those were very cool records. And song-wise, I'd go, you know, Late on the Line's a great song. It's timeless. Magic Tower's a great song. Fight the Good Fight's a great song. I Look for the Weekend is a great song.
Hold On's a great song too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a lot of great songs. It depends who you talk to. People talk about great songs. Like one of my favorite songs was this blues thing we did on Just a Game album called Young Enough to Cry. I think it's one of the ultimate blues songs that could be out there. And some radio guys still say, well, what do you want to play? And I say, what about Young Enough to Cry? If I do an interview, they go, I love that song. You know, and it's like you go, at least somebody loves it, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't a hit or anything, but it was like, I mean, it's like, it's an intense tune. A very intense tune, you know? So, it's kind of like you look back, the Blinding Lights show, even Rock and Roll Machine, you know, it's like 24 hours a day on the first record. I mean, those were all cool tunes in their own way, you know, and so you can't really say that as an artist, oh, I love that song better than that song. I mean, I love them all. Otherwise, it would be on the record.
Exactly. And I'm going to ask you, before we go on to the greatest hits package, I'm going to ask this, because if you're noticing, I'm asking a lot of questions, sounds like, for people that don't know, and that's part of what I do interviews for people that maybe they know a couple songs, or they've kind of forgotten, or they've lost track. I try to do it so everybody's included in it, not just people that are hardcore fans that know everything about the group. What happened with you guys? If that's a bad question, we'll just move on. What happened with you guys?
In what way?
Are you guys still together? Have you guys broken up? Did you guys break up at one point?
Yeah, well, Rik left the band in 1988 or 89, something like that. and then really not much happened. I mean, we replaced him with a guitar player for fun more than anything else, and it worked out okay. We made an album called Edge of Success in the early 90s, and it was doing very well, and the record company went out of business, and we were in trouble with that one. But in the last few years, we got back together with Rik, and got some nice awards and things like that. And it's all good. And whether we do anything further or we don't, it doesn't matter. Because Rik and I go out for dinner and have a good time and get thrown out of restaurants if we want to.
Well, and that's the big question. What is in the future for you guys? Are you at liberty to say it all?
I'm at liberty to say that the official Triumph plan is that we have no official plan. But, the Live Nation guys flew up from L.A. to pitch us on touring next year. We had dinner with them, 3 weeks ago now, I guess. And, we're not sure what we're going to do because of the economy and the touring business and what's going on, and we all have different lives. That's the problem that Triumph has about going back on the road, that we all would have to make that serious 6-8 month commitment to do it.
Right.
And Rik does a lot of solo stuff, and he's booked well in advance, so he has to block out his calendar. Gil has Metalwork Studios, that he owns now, because he bought Rik and I out of it years ago. But he also has a school and a sound mic company, so he's got a young family as well. So we all have different issues, about going on the road. And not to say we're not going to do it, it's just, the timing has to be right and has to fit into our plans and not anybody else's plans. So
what are you currently doing right now?
I'm in rehab.
Is that joke or is that serious?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
I should be in rehab, sorry. It's probably pretty bad. No, but on a serious note, I spent a lot of time putting together the new greatest hits package, and
let's talk about that.
My basic job is to mine the Triumph catalog and make sure things get released the way they should. What are the next steps here? And even though we're not relevant in a lot of people's minds right now.
Oh yes, you are. Oh yes, you go. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna interrupt. I'm gonna stop you right there and say, knock it off, stop it. You guys are very, very relevant because anytime a Triumph song comes on the radio, and I've satellite and it still gets played, and I run across people of the CDs, you guys are very, very relevant. Okay, maybe you're not Snoop Dogg, maybe you're not Christina Aguilera or the flavor of the week like Justin Bieber, no. But you guys are still very relevant for one reason, because you guys did something right that all the great bands do. You did something timeless that you could listen to 30, 100 years from now and it's still relevant and timeless. So you guys are still relevant. I'm sorry.
I'm talking relevant from the point of view of, are you on the road? What are you doing, to make us money from the industry?
Got you. But as far as the band,
that's concert promoters or record companies,
Got you.
Yeah. But, what we may do, is we may go on the road, but we may not. I don't know yet.
Okay.
So it's really hard to speculate, because, we could make a plan and then blow it. We had a plan to go on the road after we reunited, did the Sweden Rock Show and festival and the Rocklahoma thing. I mean, we had buildings on hold, the tour was pretty much booked, and we were ready to go and start moving on the economy, in 2008, fell apart, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just went, what's the point of going out? Because, nobody's going to have any dough, and how are we going to do it? What's the right thing to do? We just decided, what? We have to go out and sell out every venue. I don't care whether it's 200 seats or 20,000 seats. We have to sell them out. And when the economy's bad, that's a very difficult thing to do. So we decided just to land the lease and not do anything. So, we could have made some dough, but, money's not the most important thing in life. We learned that early on. And we could have made a lot more money when they're in our heyday, but, we would have all been burnt out and been in rehab.
Yeah.
Big play every day like a lot of bands do. A lot of bands don't play 6 nights a week. We play 4.2 shows a week was our average.
Right. Well, let's talk about the album. You took the time and put the new greatest hits package together. What gave you the idea to do that and release that now? And what was your thinking for the songs that you put in there? Why did you pick the songs that you picked? What were the reasonings for it?
Well, that album should have been out 4 years ago. But in the typical Triumph way, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? So it just took a lot longer to put together than it should have. But honestly, it should have been out 4 or 5 years ago because a lot of the work was already done.
Right.
On it. But as we delayed it, there was more technology available. We went through the issues of it on the DVD, for example. How do you take old footage that was shot in the old 4x3 format and make it 16:9? Make it widescreen, and without looking like NFL linebackers. When we looked at it, we looked at each other and went, "We're all short and fat." When did that happen? But there was this technology that came out that